and welcome to UC Today. I'm Susie Harrison, Head of Content. And today's video is a great case study on the relationship between CallTower and law firm Husch Blackwell. So from CallTower is Rafael Renteria, who is Senior National Director of Channel Sales, and representing Husch Blackwell and Director of Cloud Operations there is Jeff Bauer. So thank you very much for joining me and look forward to the discussion today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So Jeff, let's start by getting a bit of the background of this project. Can you tell us what initially prompted Husch Blackwell to shift from your traditional Cisco UCM phone system to a cloud-based solution like Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, so in 2019, Husch Blackwell opened a remote-focused office called The Link. It initially was for attorneys only, but because of the events of 2020, that expedited, and now The Link is our biggest office with about 850 employees dedicated to a remote-only workforce, with the other 1,200 doing a mix of hybrid, so some in office, some out of office. On any given day, we have probably 90% of our people are remote. So it really made us focus on what do we need to do to support calls, which are extremely important to attorneys, and support that in a remote focused environment. So we looked at our phone system, which, like you mentioned, was traditional Cisco UCM, which required connectivity to our data center. It required our employees to be online in a VPN or in the office. How can we support remote but not require connectivity to our data center? So we started looking at what was out on the market. We're a big Microsoft shop. We are 100% in Microsoft Azure. Our collaboration platform is Teams. So it only made sense to move our phone system or PBX to Microsoft Teams also.
So I know that from when we spoke earlier that you faced significant challenges with your previous Cisco UCM system. So especially in supporting that remote workforce,
Yep.
which obviously was necessitated by the pandemic. So can you maybe go into a bit more detail about the pain points that your team was encountering and how the transition to Microsoft Teams addressed those issues?
Yeah, so the biggest part was requiring connectivity for our employees. Like I mentioned, on any given day, 90% of our employees are not in the office. So how can we ensure that they are using their corporate phone numbers while still being wherever they're working? So we couldn't do that with UCM, mostly because the VPN connectivity had to always be on, and that was inconsistent across our workforce. So our biggest challenge there was our attorneys were taking phone calls on their mobile devices, and we couldn't capture that time to bill it back to the clients. So that was the big driver of moving to a Microsoft Teams platform, was to get off of that always on connectivity requirement that your traditional phone systems required.
Interesting. So I know in your written up case study about this project, which we will link to from this video, it mentions an 18-month failed implementation with another provider. So can you just explain a little bit about the main roadblocks during that period and how they impacted the firm's operations?
Sure. So we started the Teams project with our legacy phone provider, not Cisco, but a major carrier. They had provided our MPLS when we had an MPLS. They owned all of our SIP trunking. They owned all of our phone numbers. So it was only logical to continue the migration from Cisco UCM to Teams with them. Like you mentioned, it was an 18-month process from the design to the implementation to a point where we finally decided enough's enough. They couldn't get off the ground with call routing. Their configurations they couldn't figure out how to configure Teams to work with their systems, and the uniqueness of having multiple offices like we do. It was seemingly very insignificant challenges, but they all added up over that 18 months. And there was just no priority set from the vendor for us to get successfully delivered. So that's when we went to a broker, asked them to help us understand what does the market look like for Teams implementation partners. And that's how we got introduced to CallTower.
Oh, okay, interesting. So you hadn't worked together previously?
No.
Oh, okay. So the integration of Microsoft Teams that you brought in not only streamlined communications, but also improved the client billing accuracy that obviously as a law firm you guys need through integration with your existing systems. So can you give some specific examples of how this integration has enhanced operational efficiency at Husch Blackwell?
Yeah, so Microsoft has an open API, and that's what we use to collect all the call data. And then we're able to translate that call data to our clients. And we understand when an attorney has called a client or vice versa, and we can apply that data point into our billing system. And it just makes billing easier for our attorneys. They already have the records in there, and then they can apply matter numbers or billing codes to those calls, and it's all native integrated into the system.
Okay. So with this project that you worked on with CallTower, and presumably with the sort of less successful attempt at implementation prior to that, I'm guessing there's been lots of lessons learned for you guys. Do you think this is going to affect your IT strategy moving forward? You know, what you learned on this project?
Yeah. So twofold. We have already been working towards moving to a more SaaS or cloud native environment. Like I mentioned, we have moved our data center to 100% Microsoft Azure. A lot of our major software vendors are now SaaS solutions. So this was just another path in a long line of operational changes for us. The big name there is operational efficiency, uptime, and then cost metrics. So by partnering with CallTower, we were able to reduce our spend, make our operational efficiency higher, and provide a better product to our customers, our internal customers. One thing that partnering with CallTower and working through the 18-month previous implementation, it's given us a different perspective on how we choose vendors, how we vet them, understanding their capabilities in the market, not only for regular businesses, but also law firms, and how they can integrate with legal specific software and make sure that we're successful in delivering what we can, and we don't have 2-year implementations that should only take a few months.
Yeah, sure. So Raf, if we can perhaps turn to you for the CallTower perspective on this partnership. Can you tell me how CallTower's approach and methodology specifically addresses the challenges that Husch Blackwell was facing?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I mean, it's exciting to have Jeff on this call today. And the reason why is my first initial call with Jeff, I could sense his frustration with his previous provider, right? I think, right, Jeff? I mean, I think you expressed it enough at that first call, and I kind of said, well, we got it. We can definitely help you out here. After that first initial call, he brought in some of his team. I think it was actually a larger group that came in and had a lot of really, really good questions, right? And how we migrate customers into Microsoft Teams and cloud solutions overall. Once we kind of did a little bit of discovery, find out the amount of users, locations, what the frustrations were, coming up with a plan, a good implementation plan, having one of our top implementation managers assigned to the account to really help deploy that solution, answer questions, build things on the fly. It was great. We did a lot of testing. Jeff and his entire team, are great as they were moving all of their services to the cloud. Teams is one of them, right? And utilizing Teams, but really working on the voice side, and that's where we specialize. I mean, with CallTower, helping customers with UCaaS and their CCaaS needs, understanding that there are some feature gaps with Teams. CallTower is able to build those and having an experience. I mean, we've been doing this since 2018 with direct routing. Last 4 years with Operator Connect. I mean, we've definitely been able to help a lot of customers, and it's great to have Jeff on here as a case study to kind of show what CallTower, basically what we did, what we said we would do, and we delivered it, and we have a great customer and a happy customer for the most part, right, Jeff? And yeah. So, but it was just, this is what we do. We specialize in Teams voice, moving customers to the cloud. And, and I'm glad we were able to show Jeff and his team that CallTower was the right choice.
Yeah, I want to add something to that. Raphael talked about it a little bit in there. And, voice transitions they're a pretty well documented playbook by now. But what really set CallTower apart from all the other vendors that we talked about is they listened. They heard our story. Like Raphael said, it was a time of desperation and frustration and anger, probably.
Yes.
And they listened. They heard our story. They walked us through what their path was, and they assigned some really great implementation people to help us, people that had a lot of patience when we had none because of the failed implementation. And it was just a really pleasant experience, and one that I wish we did 2 years earlier, but it really turned around our distaste for phone systems and Teams and turned it into a really positive experience.
Well, that's great. I mean, it sounds like a sort of happy ending in that sense, in the partnership. Yeah. And I guess all partnerships can be a bit of a roller coaster. And perhaps you had that time of frustration, helped you narrow down your needs. And but yeah, I mean, good to hear that it works out for both parties. So great to talk to you both today. And Jeff and Raf, thank you for joining me. And thank you to our viewers for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please do like and subscribe to our channel. And of course, keep an eye on uctoday.com, where we cover more stories like these. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.